Hello, and welcome to the El Rancho Leaders in Education podcast. We're so excited to share captivating conversations about our students, schools, and educational programs offered here in El Rancho Unified School District. Now it's time to welcome our Superintendent, Dr. Marco Villegas.
Hello and welcome to El Rancho Leaders in Education. This is Marco Villegas, the proud superintendent of the El Rancho Unified School District, here on our third podcast. And today we have a very interesting group here that's going to be sharing their thoughts. We have some of our students here in the high schools that are going to be talking about their experiences in our high schools. As some of you may know, El Rancho Unified School District is an outstanding place to get an education. We have some outstanding programs. You know, we not only do we have a wonderful graduation rate of 94% of our students graduating on time, not only do we have robotics programs, IB programs, a strong sense of community, but we have a plethora of partnerships with the community that make us really, really unique. So today we're going to hear from three of our students that have participated at one form or another in our district. So we have Walter Benitez that's going to be here today, Azai Mendez, and Kyla Ramirez, who are going to share their thoughts on it. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and share a little bit about who they are.
Hello, my name is Walter Benitez. I'm a senior and I go to Ruben Salazar, but I attend the schools outside of the district in LAUSD.
Nice. Well, welcome to our podcast. Thank you for being here. Azai, let's hear from you.
Yeah, hi. My name is Asai Mendez, and I'm a junior in El Rancho High School. I was from the LAUSD district, and I moved districts as soon as I came to high school.
That's awesome. Well, you made the right choice in coming here. I know you did. And then we have Kayla Ramirez, who is also, and she's a senior, I believe.
Hi guys, I'm Kayla Ramirez. I'm a senior here at El Rancho High School, and I have attended both Rivera Elementary School and Rivera Middle School.
Well, thank you all for being here. This is really special to hear from our students. You know, our community really wants to know about all the things that are happening in our school district. And, you know, I use the word unique because really El Rancho Unified School District, having worked in other districts, I can tell you without doubt that El Rancho Unified School District is a unique place. It's a special place in so many ways. So I want to hear from you. You know, if I were to ask you, from your experience, and you have been in other districts, some have been in other districts, what makes El Rancho Unified School District a unique place? And we can start with Azai.
El Rancho Unified School District is extremely welcoming. As soon as I came to El Rancho High School, I've been welcomed by all my teachers, and they've all been very kind to me as soon as I walked in. So I feel like it's very friendly.
Awesome. So it's like a family feeling. You come in and you're embraced.
Exactly.
And that's what I hear a lot. I hear that there's so much love in these classrooms where teachers really, really care about you. They care about what is happening with every single student. So your experience is something that I've heard. So Kayla, what about you? Now I heard you just told us that you came to all our schools.
Yeah,
so what makes it special for you?
I think what makes it special is the people you surround yourself around. Because growing up, like, I've always had the same friends since elementary school. So I feel like it's just the people you put yourself around are the people who are going to, like, make your high school experience great.
Yeah. Well, that's really unique as well because, you know, people go to different schools and then they end up coming to the same high school. Most students end up coming to El Rancho High School in most cases. So I bet that's a very wonderful experience for you. And it's very community oriented.
Yes,
so
it is.
You have that very sense of community. Now, Walter, your experience is a little bit different. Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit what makes El Rancho special, El Rancho Unified?
For the time I spent at El Rancho, I got close to a lot of teachers and staff, and that's what really made it special. And all the activities and clubs that they have, and all the effort they put into the students. And now being at Ruben Salazar, it's the same. I'm close to a lot of teachers, the principal, and I get to attend a lot of events like this, and that's what makes the El Rancho Unified School District special. It reaches out to the students and makes them feel welcomed.
That is awesome. It kind of gives that personalized education where they connect with you and you feel that they're talking to you, and specifically those teachers, and they may be talking to everybody, but they make that personal connection with each and every one of you. And that's kind of what I think you're telling us.
I agree with him. He said it very well. Like,
thank you.
Outstanding. So the next question, you guys are special in a lot of ways because this group of students here went through something that hasn't happened ever. And that's a pandemic, right? And things changed during the pandemic. You had to stay home You had to learn from home, and you had to use new tools in many cases. So I want you to think for a moment. So I'd like to start with Walter.
What I learned is that I sleep a lot and I don't really like wearing masks. And it changes the student because I couldn't be with my friends. I had to be 6 feet apart, and it just made it harder to learn. And I just didn't really like the pandemic.
But how has it changed it for now? Because, I mean, that was the case then, right? 6 feet apart and those pieces. But has it changed things for now? Or are things now kind of back to normal and everything's...
They're a little back to normal, but we're still, suffering from the effects. People are still cautious from COVID. They still wear their mask. And I think we should be more, have more of a community together.
Awesome. And so, Kayla, coming back to you.
Yes.
What do you think? How have things changed?
I feel like things have changed for not just myself, but a lot of the seniors. Because a lot of us, I feel since the pandemic, we have struggled a lot to keep up with doing our work. Because when we were at home, I think we all kind of lacked doing our work, and we didn't really pay attention online. So I feel like coming back, it was kind of like a fresh start for us, but a lot of us have struggled, and that's why we kind of...
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point, and I so appreciate that honesty, because I think you're saying, hey, you know what? We may not have learned everything we needed to learn during those years that we were at home. There might have been things that we would have been learning had we been in school that we sort of learned, but not exactly the way we should have. I didn't put the same effort because I could turn off the camera, or I didn't have to do all of the assignments, and the grades weren't counted in the same way. So a lot of things did happen that... maybe wouldn't have happened in the exact same way. Yeah. And so I can totally understand how you might not have the same experience, and you might be like, oh my goodness, I have to know all these things, and maybe it's a little bit more pressure. What about you, Azai?
I feel like before we used to take mental health for granted too much. And now that we have finished the COVID-19 pandemic era, I believe that the Oasis in Rancho High School has been very helpful to many students who require services or are in use of those services. It has personally helped me out for sure to get well grounded within the school, because you come from not talking to a lot of people to being exposed to thousands of students in one day. It's very overwhelming for a student. So I feel pretty grateful to have the opportunity of having such a good mental health program.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so true. The mental health program, it has really kind of catapulted during this post-pandemic era, where now we do have more mental health supports in our schools. We have, like you mentioned, the Wellness Center, the Oasis Center, that allows you to have those opportunities, where in the past that wasn't always there in some districts. In our district it was, because we've had a lot of different mental health in our district, but now it's mainstream, and we're understanding that we have needs, and so that's been a big change. I've seen that as well. So let's go on to the next question. Things have also changed in technology,
Yes.
And I know that one of the things that I've seen as I visit classrooms all over our district, I see computers everywhere, right? I see every student with laptops in front of them. And so my question to the group, and I'm going to say whoever wants to go first can go first. How have computers changed the way you learn, if at all?
I feel like computers have made us students a lot more productive and a lot more efficient. But at the same time, it could become a distraction. So I would say it matters how you use technology and how efficient you are with it. But I believe that it has helped students to create, doing homework a lot more easier, and how it's just made school a more better, more easier experience for students in general.
Well, one good thing about it is your books are now in the digital, so you don't have to carry around all the books. You used to have to carry biology books and all these things. Now you just have to carry your laptop, and that must be a benefit at least as well. Awesome. Anyone else?
I also have to side with Asai, because I do agree with what he said. It's more efficient and more easier for us to be able to do our work, and the teacher are just able to send it to us or email us. But I feel like there's a big impact on it also, because a lot of us before the pandemic, we were used to getting paperwork because it was more easier to turn in. If you did it late, you just gave it to the teacher and they would grade it. But now on the laptop, once you send it to them, it takes a while for them to grade it. But
Yeah. I could totally see that. And then there's the deadlines, right? They say turn it in by 12 o'clock midnight on such and such date. You can't be late. There's it's automatic. They know exactly when it's due. So you have to turn it in. You can't just, turn it in the next day. There's some changes with that. What about you?
I think computers like a double-edged sword. It helps many people. We have millions of data at our fingertips now, and just like 30 years ago, people had to go to libraries to read books and get the information they needed, and now we have everything we need now. So I think computers have changed it in a good way, learning.
That's awesome. That takes us to another question in technology. There's a lot that's being said about artificial intelligence. And I don't know if that's something that's common in everyone's vernacular, anyone's day-to-day talking, but artificial intelligence is an opportunity for schools to do things differently potentially, because what artificial intelligence has done, it allows us something like, for example, ChatGPT. It's a program that you put certain things in there and it produces a lot of work. And so a lot of good things can happen because there could be a lot of information at your fingertips, even more so than Google. It's like Google on steroids, right? That kind of thing, super steroids. But there could also be a lot of things like plagiarism, and people don't think as much because it's so easy in some regards. So as students coming through our high schools, what are your feelings about artificial intelligence? So who wants to go first?
Artificial intelligence can be a great asset, like with programs. And I know Rancho has a medicine program, like a doctor's program, and a robotics program. It can be really helpful for those students. But then again, like you said, it's also like a cheat for students who don't want to do their work.
Yeah. So it can be a little bit of both, huh? Yeah. And so I think as we, the ones that are in the positions to make rules about how we're going to use it, we have to be careful about putting some guardrails to make sure that it's used for the good, and put some guardrails so it's not abused, right? What about the rest of you?
My experience with artificial intelligence has been pretty well. I personally use ChatGPT a lot in my day-to-day school work, specifically for clubs that I'm in. I am titled in 4 clubs and in ASB as well. So being able to draft an email that's a couple paragraphs long in seconds is extremely helpful. I would say that ChatGPT and AI has made me extremely productive, and I'm able to get a lot done in very little time.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think there's any chance that you could lose some of your skills, like in drafting an email by overusing it? Or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't believe so. I think it's important to also try to proofread everything that goes through chat, because sometimes it's never right.
Yeah.
So, I think it might be hurting me in the long run, but at the moment it's very helpful.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Yeah, no, I totally can see how it saves a time saver, right? It gives you the ability to do more things.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do more things, as long as you understand those barriers, it does remind me of like when we used to do Google Translate. We used to write these newsletters, and then we used to have to translate them, and we would stick them into Google. But then we'd have to go through word by word and make sure that everything was correct, because that's not a good translation and that kind of thing. And Google Translate has gotten better and better. I guess that's a form of artificial intelligence in itself. So those were the early days of it. How about you, Kayla? Any thoughts on that?
For me, I barely found out what artificial intelligence was right now. I didn't know it was related to AI or meant what AI was. But for me, I do use an AI. I use Grammarly. But I use that because when I'm writing my articles, because I'm a part of Ourodale News, when I'm writing my articles, it helps me correct my writing skills, because I don't want someone to read my article and then they see misspelling. So the only one I would say I use is Grammarly. But other than that, I don't want to speak for students because they might get upset at me for saying this. But I know a lot of students and teachers do find out when the students use AI, because I know there's apps where you could ask the AI. But I personally don't use that myself, but I know
We won't tell your teachers. You can tell us the truth.
No, I don't use it. But other than that, I do feel like AI is a big help to us students, because it just helps us better our skills and just work at a better
Yes.
pace. Yes.
Yeah, we get better pays, do higher level work. You don't have to worry about the content. You can worry more about the thinking. So it's about like, here is a question, you come up with this, and now you can worry about. You don't have to worry about the grammar. You can worry more about the content and how that happens. So we're coming close to the end here of our podcast. But I want to ask one more question before we part. And so, if you were to give advice to our school district, and you're going to say, what could we better? What could be better? How could we be better? What advice would you give us as a district to be better?
I would say everything's actually really good right now for how it's going. The school is putting a lot of effort into the children. Like they're rebuilding the stadium and everything. So I would say that the district's perfect as it is right now.
Wow.
It's great.
Thank you. Well, if you think of something, you let us know for sure. How about you, Isaiah?
I believe that the school district could improve its funding for the faculty. I do believe that we're not the highest ranked in funds for our payroll, for the payroll in general. It's a bummer to know that our teachers work really hard and get paid not enough for what they do. In general, I feel like teachers need to be paid more.
Very good. Awesome. That a teacher advocate from the grassroots. That's awesome. I'm sure our teachers are very happy to hear that as well. How about you, Kayla?
For me, I'm going to agree with what I have heard also, is that our district is great. I feel like we have a good district. We have a great superintendent. I feel like our superintendent now, who I'm here with, I have never been more involved with the superintendent, especially being with the student advisory when he comes to meet with us during lunch. But I do wish that they would have waited for the field to be built at a different time, so us seniors, class of 2024, were able to graduate here at the school. But other than that, I do feel like we have a great district and great people who work in our district.
Well, thank you so much. Well, you heard it. Great superintendent. I heard it myself, and so I'm going to stick to that word. And from this point on, thank you so much for being in our podcast.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It has been a great experience to get to hear your voice. One of the most important things, one of my favorite parts, and I tell you guys this in the advisory, one of my favorite parts is being a superintendent, is spending time with you guys. If I don't do that, I don't feel happy. So I'm very happy that I'm here, opportunity to learn from you, because you have a lot to offer. You have a lot to teach us as educators, and it's important that we as educators continue to keep that mind open, because how can we be better? And I know that we're doing a lot of great things, but this world is changing, and so it's so exciting to hear about the wonderful things that are about to happen in your lifetime. And so we hope we prepare you. We hope that our district provides you the support, and we're here for you. You know that, okay? So with that, I'd like to sign off to our podcast and say thank you very much for listening. Looking forward to other podcasts. And our format is going to adjust a little bit. We are going to bring more student voices so that they can be heard. And for now, have a great evening and look forward to the next podcast.
Thank you.
Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at El Rancho Schools.